Should we go ahead and get started? Okay. Well, that's just want to welcome everybody. Glad to see everyone here. And my name is Tom Mexicancheyenne, and I'm the board member, at-large board member for Northern Plains Resource Council. I want to welcome everybody to this event. This one is about the lessons from Indigenous organizing from food sovereignty with a little shell. And our presenter today will be Clancy Siversten. We're excited to have everybody here with us. And Northern Plains is the one hosting this, Northern Plains Resource Council is the one hosting this. It's a grassroots organization of Montanans who work together to protect our land, air, water for the future generations. We believe in community organizing for the future where our economy serves the people rather than the people serving the economy, and creating a world that lives up to its ideals of fairness, inclusion, and justice. We are a membership-based group. That means that we are made up of, our members are all across the state and governed by members like myself. This is the first event in this series that Northern Plains is hosting. The event series is part of Northern Plains' ongoing efforts around diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our members and leaders have made a clear commitment to deepen our understanding of the land we walk on, the history we inherit, and the Native communities working alongside us for a better world. We see these events as one of the many needed small and large steps toward that effort. We want to learn more about Montana Natives nations and learn from the powerful work they're doing. Now, Clancy Sivertsen is our speaker tonight. And a little background on Clancy is the first vice chair of the Little Shell Tribal Council and runs their food sovereignty program. He was born and raised in Havre, Terry, and Bozeman. Clancy graduated from CMR in Great Falls in 1973. He went to Northern Montana College as an ag business degree in 1981, and then went on to get his pilot license, became a Cheyenne Aerotech, and received a federal license for power plant airframe. In 1973, Clancy joined the Army in active duty, and was active duty for 6 years. After that, he returned and went to work for the Montana Air National Guard on F-16 jet engines. He spent over 35 years in the military. He's now retired and has been on the Little Shell Tribal Council for over 14 years and helped the tribe even earn their federal recognition. He also serves as chairman of the Montana Veterans Board. He lives with his wife in Belt, where they have a small ranch. At the end of Clancy's presentation, we also we'll have some time for questions and from the audience, and Joan will kind of give you the instructions how to get on to ask if you have questions. And I hope you ask questions because Clancy's presentation is very interesting, and I learned a lot from just hearing it also. So I want to introduce Clancy right now. Okay, Clancy.
Well, good evening, everyone. Glad that could be on here and give you some information about what the Little Shell tribe is doing and how we are doing. As you ever know, the Little Shell tribe, it took us over 100 years to get our recognition back from the federal government. Little Shell tribe was part of the Pembina band, which was 5 of them. The Little Shell tribe of Chippewa Indians of Montana, Turtle Mountain, Red Lake Band, White Earth Band, and Rocky Boys Chippewa Creek were all the different bands from the Chippewa, or from the Pembina Chippewa bands. In 1889, Chief Little Shell would not sign the 10-cent treaty to give up all the land that they lived on and hunted and whatnot. And so the federal government basically stopped doing any dealings with Chief Little Shell. And after a time, he took his band and moved farther west into Montana, and settled up along the High Line, and then eventually into Great Falls. And a lot of our folks lived I don't know if people know the Hill 57 in Great Falls. They lived in teepees and little shacks, paper shacks, everything up there. And we were called the landless Indians. And also most of the, when we were back in those days, it was the Little Shell, the half-breeds that they also deemed us as. So with that, we tried getting, like I said, it was a 100-year process to finally get the recognition back. In 1977, we refiled restoration for federal recognition. And then the Department of Interior turned around in 1978 and changed the regulations for the federal recognition process. So we had NARF, Native American Rights Fund, jumped on board and helped get more documentation and all the proof that we needed to try to move it forward. In 2000, Department of Interior, they actually provided a finding in favor of federal recognition. In 2003, the Montana Supreme Court, they stated to the world that the Little Shell tribe met all criteria for federal recognition. And then in 2006, the Montana governor then was Brian Schweitzer. He recognized the Little Shell tribe as a state recognized tribe with all of the recognition from the state. Was we had all the same dealings with the state as any federal recognized tribe at that point in time. So anyway, then a long story, the 2009, the Department of Interior came back with after the new rules and all, there was like 600,000 pages of documentation that were turned into the federal government for our recognition. But in 2009, the Department of Interior, and part of that was the Office of Federal Acknowledgement then, their final determination was against our federal recognition. So again, NARF and a team of lawyers repetitioned, provided more information, and then in 2017, 2018, Congress actually passed the bill for our recognition, but the Senate took no action. So nothing happened. And then December 2019, Congress had passed again, and the Senate took it up, and it was attached to another bill, and it passed, and we regained our federal recognition December 2019. So everybody, you know, it was the old term was the day that never came. Well, December 20th, 2019, that day came, and it finally brought the respect, dignity, and whatnot back to the Little Shell people. It was very, very huge turning points for the Little Shell tribe. So with that, now we are one-on-one. We're a sovereign nation. We deal with the federal government as a nation. And as everybody knows, with this pandemic, it was bad, but it also, the federal government issued a lot of money out to the tribes. And with that, we were able to start this food sovereignty program. What we did is we wanted to get this agricultural land and provide food for our people that was not processed, full of all the preservatives and everything. So that's our goal, is to get to that point. So we had enough money that we were able to purchase 750 acres there, kind of northwest of Great Falls. And last fall, we harvested about 350 acres of winter wheat. And then we fenced the rest of those pastures and whatnot for livestock. And so we actually leased the ground. We don't own any cattle or anything at this point in time. So we leased that ground to a rancher there on the outside so that he grazed that ground for us. And then now I've been working on a program. A gentleman from up out of Babb, Montana, his family donated 10 head of buffalo to the Little Shell tribe. And so we're in the process of setting up our area for those to be in. That's going to be a huge deal because they're 10 cows, they're bred, and so they're going to have babies here in the next probably month or so here. And so we'll have our buffalo. Down the road, we're hoping with all this going forward that we're going to be able to purchase some more pasture ground and farm ground and be able to provide these foods. But with that, like with the buffalo and beef cattle, and with the beef cattle, I don't know, that's another point that in our history book, the Little Shell tribe followed the buffalo. That's what the people lived on. And when the buffalo kind of went almost extinct or whatever, the Little Shell tribe actually brought in cattle that the Little Shell, the bands, that's what they lived on then, was they had their little bands of cattle also. So, but anyway, to make a long story short, the cattle deal, we want to build a processing plant that we will be able to process our own buffalo, beef, pigs, whatever. If we have members that have some of that and need it processed, that we'll have that facility available. And not only to process, but we want to train some of our young people that are interested in how to process that meat and stuff also. So we'll use it as a training facility, not just a processing. So those are some of the deals. And then we've actually been contacted. There was a group that they want to build a 20-acre greenhouse somewhere around Great Falls, and they want to know if we can build it out on some of our property there, which a 20 acres of greenhouse is huge. That's a big load to take on. The water system that we would have to have and whatnot is quite a huge project. So we are looking at that, working with the city of Great Falls, the county, and that's, I will say, the city and county of Great Falls so far have been excellent to work with the Little Shell tribe here in town. So those are some of the deals that we're working on. One of the big success deals I think that we actually did, we bought that ground and we put the winter wheat in, and we harvested 350 acres of it last year, and was able to, we put it in storage like most farm outfits would do. And then we thought the price was up there high enough. We ended up this winter, we sold it. And so that's some of the money that we can use for our fences and water systems and all that. So it's an ongoing process, but that was a big success in our eyes, that we were able to harvest that 350 acres of property, that grain, and put it in the bank. And then we've like I said, we have fenced that other property so that it is available for our livestock as we move forward here. Water, last week we were working on there's a pretty good ditch that runs through the property and has a lot of water in it. So we were in the process, we opened that up and cleaned and made some spots for cattle and buffalo, whatever we have in there, are going to be able to have plenty of fresh water. The obstacles so far that we have run into is just the cost of everything with this pandemic is just, a lot of it's more than doubled. So it's kind of slowed up what we can do because of the costs. But there are, I mean, there's still companies they're actually willing to work with us and stuff. So we're pretty happy with that. We did have a professional company out of Washington that has written food sovereignty business plans and whatnot. They have helped us get it put together here and in the process of finalizing our food sovereignty plan. So that's something that, as this goes on, I mean, you have to have a good plan put together so that when you do, like we move forward with our processing, get more cattle, in Buffalo, whatever, that we have to have a plan together so that when we move forward with these, like that processing, we're looking at that down the road, we probably, in the beginning, there's probably going to be 6 employees in that processing. But if we get it up and running, we're looking at that's going to be double or even triple by the time we get it all put together and running. So those jobs are going to be available to our members. We look at those first. If there isn't members that can fill those positions or qualified or whatever, then we'll look at other Native individuals. And if we don't have any of those, then it's kind of open to whoever we can find that would be wanting to work, learn, whatever the case would be. So that's, as everybody knows, that the workforce right now is kind of a challenge. We found that out with a couple other businesses that we do own. It's hard to get folks like we have a travertine quarry in Gardner, Montana, and we own the Idaho travertine business also. And there's a lot of folks that do not want to go to a remote place like that and work. So it's a challenge getting those folks, but I think down the road when this pandemic thing kind of clears out, people are gonna be ready. I think people are ready now to start doing more and going to work. So hopefully that will not be a problem down the road. The other thing with if we can get more property, we've actually looked at trying to do some soybeans, because soybeans are used for so many things in the food world and whatnot, and it's just a good product. If we're doing some research on the soybeans and our weather in Great Falls, Montana, if we have a long enough growing season to be able to get those to actually make a crop. So a lot of that stuff, research, and that all came with this business plan that we working on putting together, that we have to, like I said before, we've got to research this stuff and see before you jump into it, to make sure that we can make it a viable and not a big loss in the cost end. So it's just a process, as everybody knows. Anything we do, businesses, you need to do the research and try to have the answers before you actually jump in with both feet. So we have talked to several other tribal nations that have built processing plants. There's several of them around the state that have just built new ones. One in Oklahoma that they've offered they want me to come down there and look at their processing plant there in Oklahoma. It's a state-of-the-art processing plant, quite a little bigger than what we're talking, but with the equipment and everything, they said they could definitely give us the insight of what we would need for the size of processing plant we want to put together. So the other tribes that we have contact on this, there's one in North Dakota that bought a mobile processing unit. Those are very, very expensive. They're limited in how many they can do, but I guess they're very good facility, and they're mobile. So that's something that we've also looked into. But the other tribes, like I said, are very helpful with the information that we have needed to look at. And just anytime we have questions or whatever, we can pick up the phone and call those individuals that we've been in contact with, and they definitely have given us some good answers. So right now, that's kind of where we're at. I hope I didn't leave anything out. Yeah. So if there's I guess if Caitlin or Tom, if they want to move to the next one, that'd be good.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Clancy. That is all such incredibly inspirational work. It's just inspirational. Well, we've got plenty of time for interaction for all of your questions. So I think I'll start off with just asking you what food sovereignty means to the tribe. And then if people can use the raised hand function, or if you want, you can use your regular hand, your biological hand.
Okay, well, yeah, food sovereignty for the tribe just means that we could provide our membership with nutritional food that is not full of all the preservatives that we get from food that we buy in the stores today. Because in that, with some of the research that we've looked at and stuff, the preservatives that are in the food today are, I think there's quite a few of them that are, they won't admit it or can't nail it down, but some of this cancer stuff and everything else is, we've been told that preservatives can cause some of that stuff, and there are a lot of preservatives in food that you get through the grocery store. So the biggest thing I can say there is just to provide that nutritional food without all of the products, the preservative stuff that they put in them.
That's a huge step forward. Those of us who at shop in grocery stores, it's quite a wilderness there, hard to figure out what you're putting into your body. So that's huge to know that it's good food. I don't see any hands up. Oh yes, Mary. This is Mary May from Bozeman.
Hi, thank you again for sharing your time with us and this information. So I too had that question about the tribe's the food sovereignty plan, if that would include food directly for members, which you said yes. And aside from generating funds to be used by the tribe. And so then are many of the members centrally located, or will distribution of that food need to come into play in that larger plan as well?
Yes, right now, we just went over this, the distribution of our members. There's over 1,000 of our members right in Great Falls area. And we actually, right now, we're sitting at 6,200 and some members in the Little Shell tribe. And there's about 1,000 right around Great Falls area. Last year, during the pandemic, I was involved with actually through Salvation Army Farmers to Families food program. And the Little Shell tribe, we don't have a reservation. So we're called an urban Indian tribe. But we have our service areas, which is Cascade County, Hill County, Blaine County, and Glacier County. And our members are kind of scattered all over those 4 areas. And we were able to distribute food boxes to all 4 areas. So we would, once a week, we would load up boxes and we would go to different points and distribute food boxes. So yes, we would, it wouldn't just be the local Great Falls area. We will be able to distribute, but down the road, not only members, if we've got enough going that we can provide food for and have like our own little store, we'll provide it to whoever walks in the door if we get to that point. And that's what we're hoping for.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're going to go on to a question from Mary.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I was curious as to what the name of the company in Washington that you guys use for your business plan for food sovereignty.
Did not write it down, Mary, sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, I did not write down the name of that, sorry.
No problem.
Okay, and I think John Brown has a question.
All right, well, several of my questions are being answered already, so that's great. And I'm really appreciating this presentation. And a couple of questions I have around the greenhouse that is being suggested. Is that owned by someone else and they're leasing your land, or what would be the status of that?
No, the little will own the greenhouse and we will do the building and whatnot. These folks that came to us, they have greenhouses in several areas around the country. And so they offered up the fact that they could come in and help us set this greenhouse system up with all the waters and all the different, everything that you need for a greenhouse. And I don't know if we could do 20 acres right off the get-go, because holy man, that would be a lot of work in a greenhouse to keep all of those plants. And it's mostly what they were telling us is the fresh vegetables and produce that we could do and provide basically year-round with this greenhouse system that they're talking about. So
Yeah, and are they talking about growing in soil?
growing what?
In soil?
Yes. Yeah, well, now most of it, the other, what do they call it? Aquaponic?
Yeah, hydroponic and aquaponic, yeah.
Yeah, they actually, some of the produce, I guess, works really well in that system. So it would be something that we would definitely look at, because I guess my mind, I've been around the ranching and farming business all my life also. You don't have to do the change in soil and all of that. That would take a lot of work out of it.
Yeah, as long as you have the nutrient quality
Yes,
of the material.
right.
Yeah, well, that's pretty exciting. And then the other thing that I'm, just right outside of Great Falls at Ulm is Timeless Seeds, and they are a specialty marketing organization that sells organic pulse crops, lentils, chickpeas and stuff like that around the world a lot, but and they're always looking for more growers for their operation, and that's pretty handy.
Yeah. Well, that would be any of that kind of information that anybody would have. My email will be on here at the end. I think Caitlin was going to put it up. If you have any of that info, anybody has,
Yeah,
shoot me an email with it and we will definitely do some research into it.
cool.
All
Well,
right.
congratulations again.
Okay, I think Edward.
Yes, hello. Oops. Yeah, hear me okay. I have a question, and also my friend Barbara Bodman has a question as well. So I guess my question is, Clancy, a lot of your plans are going to have a need for a fair amount of water, as indicated, not only the greenhouse, but the cattle and whatever. Do you see that being a bottleneck in terms of the droughts that we're having right now, or what are you seeing of having access to the amount of water you're going to need for your projects and what have you? You see that being a problem?
No, not at this point. We, last year, we actually worked with the city and county, and we have our event center out on the Stuckey Road on the west side of Great Falls. And years ago, they put a 2-inch water line from the city up to that property. And that's what we'd run on. Well, last year, we actually got the city and the county together and we worked with them, and we put a regular 8-inch water main and a 12-inch sewer main all the way up to that property. And where we're looking at the greenhouse, that's available there right across the road. So we would be able to hook right into that. But there's another piece that we have looked at for this greenhouse project, that same issue. We will have to have a city county put in a line over to that property, but it's only across the road. So it's not a huge issue. And so the Missouri River hopefully doesn't dry up. But we, and that's something that we also have been approached with the individual that owns a huge water rights to the Missouri, from water out of the Missouri. And from, so we're looking at all that just to make sure that down the road we would not have an issue of that.
Great, thank you. And then before I introduce Barb Lively, but sometime you need to show you the other business you have that you spoke about yesterday, and that is your fly reel, or not your fly reel, but your fly net.
Oh, yeah.
You have a company that makes, but this is Barb Lively.
Okay.
Good evening. My question was around, if you're opening your processing plant for animals, you know, Havre has a program to train butchers. And if you can partner with them in terms of training your tribal members. And also that I know that Farmers Union is starting a processing plant up around Havre, and whether or not you can partner with other, you know, organizations around training and staff and everything.
Yeah, that's good. I knew about that, and Miles City also just started a meat processing training in their schooling. So we haven't got to visit with them folks very much yet, but that's on our radar to talk to those folks, because all the information we can get, the better off we are, and the easier it is to go forward.
Clancy, do you want to take a minute to talk about what Edward was mentioning, something that you mentioned to us yesterday when we were planning for this event?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
The Little Shell Council, Tribal Council, like I told him yesterday, we're very aggressive with our economic development, because we do not want to, down the road, we do not want to depend on the federal government to assist, I guess. We want to be able to do it for our members from our own economic development. And with that, we bought it's a fly fish net company, and they're in Bozeman, Blue Ribbon Nets. It's all handmade wood nets. The basket that used in the net is biodegradable. If you would lose that net in the water and it sat in the water for 2 weeks, that net will biodegrade. It's not like those nylon and whatnot that are hang up and be there forever. That net would biodegrade. So, and we actually have the patent on that now. So that's one. And the other, I kind of touched on it, our travertine business that we have. We have the travertine quarry in Gardner and the travertine quarries in business in Idaho Falls, Idaho. Travertine is just a touch softer than granite. It's carvable. So it's very, very widely used in building projects, for flooring, for tiles, countertops. If you wanted to, and they showed us down at there, they carved a bathtub out of a big chunk of that travertine. And it's beautiful when it's polished it up. So it's very, very widely, architects are just so excited because there's only 3 travertine quarries in the United States, and now we own 2 of them. The one in Montana and the one in Idaho, and there's also one in New Mexico, but they're not hardly doing any travertine. And prior to this, 85% of the travertine came from over in Italy and China, but the quality of that travertine is not the quality that we have right here in the United States. So all these architects from all over the states are just really excited that we can provide this for these building projects. The AT&T just signed a contract to do a project down in Texas. A business over in Seattle. They had used travertine from our Gardner quarry in the past, and so they wanted more. And when they found out that we were cutting travertine again, they ordered a whole nother big job for that. So that's pretty exciting. But that's the economic development that we're pushing. And the big deal we have, we call it Silver Wolf right there at our offices in Great Falls. We 8A, we can contract with federal entities. We just signed a deal for bottled water for all the embassies in the world. And that was a huge contract that we signed off on. So yeah, that's our economic development is something that we are very, very strongly pushing forward so that we do not have to, down the road, depend on the federal government.
Right at this moment, I don't see anybody's hand up. Am I missing somebody? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
This is Tim Swanson and
Oh.
with Nancy.
Oh, okay. Tim, go ahead. And then Barb.
Okay. We spend a lot of time in Four Corners country and know a lot of people that work with the different tribes in that neck of the woods. And what happened there is they began to organize and try to put together a group of ranchers and farmers that were growing organic products. And it seems to me that a partnership like that, where your focus might be on meat, pork or bison or cattle, probably grass-fed and in an organic method. But what's happened there is they've monitored who is raising what and how they're raising it and when their product is ready for market. But it seems to me that if somebody could take time to find out the organic ranchers and farmers that could be tremendous partners with your project, particularly in the processing. Everybody sort of knows that there can be trades. They know when the products can be sold or traded. And I'm just wondering if anybody has done kind of a research on who and where are the organic farmers and ranchers that could become partners with your project.
So at this point in time, Tim, we haven't, I actually had looked at that a couple years on my own. I ranched, I got a small place up in the Highwood Mountains, and we raise all of our cattle are grass fed. We do all of our own butchering and stuff. But I did talk to some of them folks that are doing that. And I agree with you. I think we could do a co-op type of a deal with folks like that. And I think we would be able to provide that product. And it's unreal. If I had 1,000 head of those, I could sell them today. That's, people want that organic grass-fed meat, produce, all of it. So I do agree. And same thing with the lentil crops and whatnot. The organic, there's getting to be more and more organic growers around the state of Montana too.
If you can put your mailing address, I can give you the catalog that this group put together. It's pretty impressive in terms of how how much information people have if they are interested in organic foods. So
Thank
I
you,
can send you
Tim.
that. Pardon?
Thank you so much. That's great. And, you know, one of the great benefits of an event like this is all the cross-pollination that happens. Just very quickly, I want to draw Clancy's attention to something in the chat because you won't be thinking about it. Patrick Iwaki says, I'm having difficulty with cell phone coverage, but I represent People's Food Sovereignty Program on the Flathead Reservation. We can offer assistance in food sovereignty efforts. So I'm sure you two will connect afterwards. And now I think it's Barb, and then I think Kelsey, and then I might have missed somebody, but Caitlin will cue me. So go ahead, Barb.
Hi. Well, yeah, I'm excited to hear that you're looking at soybeans. I know they have a long growing season from my history of growing up in another part of the country. Curious about in the field of agronomy, has there been research, have there been hybrids, or has there been work done to develop a seed that has a shorter growing season? Because that's a great crop with a lot of financial benefit from what I understand.
Yeah, and there, you know, I don't think people realize all the uses for soybeans also, but I actually visited with a fella that is in, I believe he was in South Dakota, and I have visited with him some, but that I have not heard anything about being any other variety that would be a shorter growing season. But that's something that, you know, down the road, maybe we could actually do some agronomy stuff and come up with one.
That would be
Okay. All right, that's great. Kelsey.
Hi, everybody. My name's Kelsey Miller. I work for a nonprofit called Abundance Montana, and we are the megaphone for local food. Excuse my traffic noise. Just touching on the previous question about the Four Corners area that connected farmers and ranchers. We have a really large network, over 500 listings now of local food producers. And then our goals are to kind of help assist the interconnectedness between our food systems. So any sort of resources or waste or cycling that we can help with, any sort of contacts that you need with the tribe for marketing your products. You said, you know, if we had 1,000 head, we could sell them today. Well, collectively, we certainly do. So that's kind of the idea. I will put our website in the chat for Clarence and anyone else who's interested, but we have lots of resources for that kind of stuff. Just wanted to let you know. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelsey. This is really, really exciting. All these interconnections are fantastic. I'm not getting any message from Caitlin, and I don't see any further questions. I do have one though, Clancy, and that is, you just became got federal recognition only 2 years ago, and it just seems almost impossible that so much could have been achieved in that short period of time. And then I realized that I'm remembering you saying yesterday that the efforts to organize have been never, ever stopped. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that, because you must have hit the ground running, and that goes to decades of organizing.
Well, that's definitely true, and I can tell you, one of the lawyers that helped us work through this federal recognition process, when that day finally came in December there, 2019, we were in a meeting with the council, and he says, okay, he says, I need you guys to just stop and think for a minute, because this is going to happen so fast. You guys are going to be hit with so much. he says it's going to be like trying to take a drink out of a fire hose and not a drinking fountain. And that's kind of put it just exactly how it's been. But as I've said, our council is very aggressive with, we kind of knew where we wanted to head with this and what we wanted to get done. We did not know on some of these economic development businesses that wouldn't be able to get into. But they came up after our recognition and we did the research, we were able to move forward. And yes, we have not slowed down. And Chairman Gray, he's a businessman, does a lot of marketing. Him and his brother actually ran a marketing business. His brother has been in that business for years. And so they actually were big help in a lot of the process of doing the, getting everything put together as we were going forward with all this different economic development and stuff that's happened. So yeah, it's been a very, very fast pace, I guess. They keep telling me it's keeping me young.
Oh, okay. I think we have time for a last question, and that's going to go to Edward.
Well, I don't know if I want the last question, but I do know that it sounds like sometime this spring you're going to have a really joyful event of having 10 buffalo calves up there somewhere. And I'd just like to, if you wouldn't mind, it would be great to see that, to take a picture of it, maybe send it our way. That would be quite a joyful thing to see. But so in terms of time, we have about 8 minutes left. So if we have another question, that we can probably move forward with that.
Okay, and Lori has her hand up. So that might be if the last one. We'll see.
Yeah, hi, Clancy. I just wanted to introduce myself. As you may or may not know, we just launched a new Northern Plains affiliate in the Great Falls area, Golden Triangle Resource Council. And it sounds like you guys really have it together. But it would be great to partner with you in any way that might be helpful. We are certainly interested in food sovereignty of all kinds, and we're also working on to start with some solarized campaign and getting CPACE enabled and projects going on that. So energy efficiency projects. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please reach out to us, and we'd love to have any kinds of discussions and any way we can help.
Okay, thank you. If you would just put your information in the
okay
chat with my email is in there that Kate will bring up here at the end. And so you could send me an email on that, and yeah, we'll look at
I'll send you an email.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great.
Okay, I'm continuing to think pollination. There's bees in my yard right now. And we're doing it too. Well, Clancy, maybe as we wrap up here, if you could let us know if there's anything that you would like us to know in terms of how you'd like any of us to support your work, or if you feel like the connections that have been made here are going to do that job. Is there anything that any of us on this Zoom tonight could do that would be supportive?
Well, I think with what I've heard with if the folks that have some of the different information that would all tie together, if they will send me emails and I can send back emails and visit with them at some point in time, if we deem it necessary, we'll put together something where we'll host a live meeting or something there in Great Falls at one of our offices there or something to put more of this stuff together. one thing that I would like to throw in before we go is, you know, one of the biggest things for anybody that listeners that take action support of this or work or support fruit sovereignty in their communities, the FSA and the USDA have a ton of programs out there, and the funding available through them right now is just kind of unbelievable how much funding is in those programs. So if anybody out there, you know, needs to look at some of that stuff, go to that FSA, USDA office in your local areas, and they can fill you in on the different programs, what they're available for, how much you can use for different stuff. It's I have dealt with them for years, and since we started this program, I've actually been getting more involved with them. And so that's just one thing I wanted to make sure everybody would know, that they can go there and get some pretty good information and some possibility for funding for projects that you may have.
That's great, Clancy. Thank you. 2 more questions, and then that's really it. Okay, John, and then I think Kelsey was the other one.
Yeah, just a quick one.
I'm sorry, Robin. Sorry, Robin. So John first.
Okay, just a quick one. Recording of this, is it going to be available? And how long?
What do you mean?
Well, when will it be available?
Within a few hours of
Oh,
end of
great.
the event.
Awesome. Thank you. Great program.
Okay. And Robin.
Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful presentation. Thank you, everyone, for all your questions. Mine got answered, but I'm just curious, Clancy, does your ranch in the Highwood Mountains have a name?
Sivertsen Ranch.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We're on the little Belt Creek in the Highwood Mountains.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Good.
Well, thank you all for fantastic questions and all of the exchanges of really, really valuable information. It's really exciting. So I'm going to turn things back over to Tom.
Okay, well, thank you. I'd like to thank Clancy for his presentation. A lot of good information and a lot of good questions from people. So opened up maybe some doors both ways for the attendees as well as for Clancy. But also Caitlin put Clancy's email at the bottom if somebody wants to contact him maybe for more information or they have any other questions. And we will be doing more events in the future, and we really invite people to come in and listen to these diversity, equity, and inclusion presentations. I think they're really important. And then if you can invite other people too, let them know, and so they can also be in attendance here. The other thing is you can become a member. I don't know if everyone on here is a member of Northern Plains, but if not, you can also become a member of Northern Plains and go to the Northern Plains Resource Council website and just join through there. But that's, you know, I just wanted to tell everyone, you know, thank you for coming and participating in our diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we'll see you next time, hopefully in a couple months.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Everybody.